It's been a while since we've done some championship content here on the channel, mostly because there's been enough going on with my own club at the moment, and fixtures have been here, there and a little bit everywhere. But today, we're going to be predicting this weekend's round of championship games. Sadly, we've got to start with Friday nights, and one of two games, which I've covered already on the channel. Bristol City, of course, at home to Boro, in what is, as we know, a must-win game for Michael Carrick, who's been backed by Steve Gibson to turn the ship around, with Boro falling like a stone at the moment, dropping into mid-table, wildly out of form, and our playoff aspirations are slipping away. And this is the biggest game of Michael Carrick's tenure as Boro boss. A simple must-win, otherwise I think he's as good as done, and it won't be easy because Bristol City are an outstanding home side in the league, and their record against Boro is absolutely amazing. So this is me at my hopeful best, my absolute optimistic peak right now. I can't be much more positive, but I'm going to hope and pray that we come away with something being a draw, albeit in the long term, I don't think that will be enough. I'm going to go Bristol City 1, Boro 1. That's my heart speaking. My head does worry. Bristol City are going to beat us. The other Friday night game, Burnley go up against Sheffield Wednesday. Things are starting to get a little bit interesting from a Burnley point of view, because for a long enough time now, they've been chipping away, getting clean sheets every week, not losing games, but maybe, just maybe, drawing too many games, and that is starting to cut them adrift slightly of the top two. I've seen a few Burnley fans getting a little nervy over the fact that these draws have started to cost them 5 points off of Sheffield United and 7 points off Leeds, and with them both playing each other, this is a huge chance for Burnley to take advantage, but also a huge banana skin that they might slip over. Sheffield Wednesday are the visitors, a team who you can't really predict, but have found themselves right in the playoff mix as it stands, but have been relatively inconsistent all season, as of all the playoff chasers, let's be honest. So a big game for Burnley, but they are at home, they don't concede, so call it a safe, predictable prediction, but I'm going to go Burnley 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. And on to Saturday now, Derby host Millwall. Obviously, John Eustace's first game did not go to plan last week when they went to QPR and got absolutely walloped. So who knows how his first home game as Derby manager will be. So slight little bit of unpredictability about what we might get here. Of course, Millwall are the visitors. They themselves have gone on a little winless run of 3 without a win. It included that huge 5-1 defeat, of course, at Plymouth. So away form, maybe a slight concern. We'll have to wait and see. I don't quite know what to expect from Millwall, but just down to Derby's poor form, and maybe Eustace still taking a bit of time to get this Derby team playing the way he will. I've got a feeling Millwall might nick this one. I don't think either side's playing all that great, but I've gone with Derby 0, Millwall 1. And to Plymouth now, who have seemingly turned a corner under Murich. The new manager has certainly got a tune out of Plymouth at home park. I still feel like they are not quite good enough on the road. They're nowhere near good enough on the road. But their last 2 home games have been victories. They, of course, beat West Brom, and then that, as I just mentioned, huge home win over Millwall. I think they are really starting to make home park a fortress again, and pair that with the amazing FA Cup victory over Liverpool as well. Plymouth are feeling good at home park, and I feel like that will continue with Cardiff as the visitors, who themselves are not doing all that great, and not too long ago lost 7-0 at Leeds and then lost away at Pompey too. So away from home, they've not been great recently. Plymouth have. It would be typical championship that the script flipped here, but I'm going to go with the status quo. Good home team at the moment, playing a pretty poor away side. Plymouth 2, Cardiff 1. To the Stadium of Light now, and, well, I was saying it about Burnley. A huge chance for Sunderland to close the gap on the top two, who, as I say, play each other on Monday, and it seems pretty significant, this, for Sunderland. Of course, they've just narrowly been edged out by both Burnley and Leeds in recent weeks, missing the 2 penalties at Burnley, of course, and then losing in the 95th minute against Leeds. The fine margins of this automatic promotion race are just going the other way for Sunderland at the moment, and now they find themselves 8 points off second place, which is probably as big of a gap as they would want. They don't want it to grow any more than that, and currently they've got a golden chance to make that gap a little bit smaller at home to Hull, and I don't have any worries about this one, despite Sunderland maybe being a little bit up and down. 2 wins from the last 5. Maybe they've dropped off ever so slightly and fallen off the top 2 pace, but at home they're still absolutely immense and one of only 2 sides to not lose at home yet this season. And that's why I've got no doubt, no matter how good or bad Hull might be playing, I don't think they'll get anything at the Stadium of Light. So I'm going to go Sunderland 2, Hull 0. To the CBS now, and Coventry host Preston, and Coventry probably the in-form playoff chaser at the moment. They are taking advantage of all the playoff teams around them, throwing points away left, right and centre, and have gone from being nowhere in mid-table, hopeful of a potential playoff chase, to maybe being the favourites to getting in there at the moment. Frank Lampard's start to his Coventry career has been nothing short of outstanding, and fair play to him. A lot of doubts around his managerial career. He has gotten off to a flyer at Coventry, and they're doing what they always do, that is make a late run for the playoffs, and you'd have to bank quite a bit of money on them getting in there as it stands, which as a Boro fan doesn't fill me with any confidence whatsoever. From our point of view, they're at home to Preston, who themselves are doing alright. You know, they've only lost 1 of the last 5. They're playing quite well, picking up points consistently, as they always kind of have done under Paul Heckingbottom, but I think Coventry's form at the moment is just that little bit too strong, and I've got a feeling they might get a few here. I'm going to go Coventry 3, Preston 1. Carrow Road now, Norwich play Stoke City. 2 teams I find so hard to predict. You know, Stoke are doing all right. They're picking up the odd victory here and there. Norwich looked like they were picking up pace a couple of weeks back. They had obviously that really good win over Swansea. Then they went to Watford and won. Since then, though, they've not won in 3. So they're still a team who just can't quite get things going. Again, like a lot of playoff chasers, Stoke lingering in and around the bottom 3. They're just getting enough points at the moment to keep themselves clear, but they're in that vintage Stoke position of just languishing in the bottom half, not doing anything of note. So I find it hard to predict a win for either of these sides here. So I'm just going to go straight down the middle. I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go Norwich 1, Stoke City 1. And down to the south coast now to Pompey, who host QPR. Now, QPR's great form did drop off. They've sort of picked it back up again and continue to hang around in that huge playoff mix. They're either winning or losing at the moment, but they did obviously come off the back of a giant win at home to Derby, which no doubt will fill them with an absolute ton of confidence. But equally, just as confident is Pompey, who've really gotten their season up and running finally, you could say, and just continue to pick up good results at home. They've made Fratton Park the fortress we all thought it would be, and for that reason, I feel like any team who isn't right at the top of the league is going to struggle going there at the moment. And I think Pompey, you've got 2 sides who are in decent form. I think Pompey will use their home advantage to edge it. I've gone Pompey 2, QPR 1. To Swansea now, who are a team right now who knows what's going to happen there. They're on a horrible run. They've obviously just sacked manager Luke Williams. So who knows what might happen with Swansea with him gone. Will they react well? Will the ship continue to sink a little bit? Down in South Wales, no idea. It's impossible to predict what you might get from Swansea at the moment, but it's kind of easy to predict what you're going to get from Blackburn, because they are probably the only of the playoff sides who've put a bit of consistency together in the last few games. 3 wins from 4. No doubt, you can see why. That's put them so far clear of the rest. 4 points above 7th. I've always said it's only going to take a semi-decent run from one of the sides in the playoff pack to pull clear, and the others will drop like a stone. I've been saying it about Boro for weeks, and Blackburn have been probably the one alongside Coventry who've put together a consistent run, and that's all it's taken. So I still think Blackburn have the odd poor result in there somewhere. They could still drop an absolute clanger, especially away from home, so that could be a possibility here. But I think with all the unrest around Swansea at the moment, I'm going to back Blackburn to nick a win down in South Wales. I've gone Swansea 0, Blackburn 1. And finally, the last of the Saturday games is West Brom at home to Oxford. West Brom, another side who they're just doing enough at the moment, but I'm sure under Mogger would want a little bit more consistency, and they've got a golden chance to do so at home to Oxford, whose unbeaten run has of course come to an end under Gary Rowett, and the wins have also dried up as well. They still seem to be picking up enough points, and I still think they'll be absolutely fine, but I feel like these are the sort of games which they could struggle in ever so slightly, with West Brom being at the Hawthorns, and of late barring the Blackburn defeat you could say a few weeks ago, have picked up some pretty good results at home. So for me, I've got a feeling they'll have a comfortable afternoon here and they will get past Oxford. I've gone West Brom 2, Oxford 0. And to some pretty juicy games across the end of the weekend, starting with the Watford-Luton derby. Forgive me, I don't know the name of it, but it's a great fixture and one I'm looking forward to watching. Watford, well, I say desperately in need of a win. They were until they came to the Riverside last week, and then they got the win because of course they did. So that might just give Watford that little bit of confidence that they've got that win, first win in a while, to kickstart them back into some decent form now. And Luton are of course coming to town. Now I don't want to use the old cliche of form goes out of the window when it's a derby. I think Luton will be hoping that form goes out the window when it's a derby because, as we all know, their away record is atrocious. The joint worst away side in the Championship this season. 1 win from 16 away games, only 12 goals scored. They are hopeless on the road, and that's not really changed despite Matt Bloomfield coming in. So for that reason, I find it just crazy to predict anything other than a defeat on the road for Luton at the moment, even up against a Watford side who are sort of format. If they'd lost at Boro last week, maybe you could make a case for either, but I think Watford just getting that win at home in a game like this, it will give them just enough. And of course, Luton's away form is dross, as I say. So I'm going to go with Watford to win, Watford 2, Luton 1. And finally, leaving the best till last, the juiciest game of the weekend, undoubtedly. This will be a cracker, and maybe it's an automatic promotion decider. You've got the battle of the top two, who are so far clear of everyone else at the moment. I think both teams below them, being Burnley and Sunderland, will be hoping for a draw, but maybe one will pull clear here, and that could maybe, just down to the incredible high standard at the top, could pull them away just enough to make them huge favourites to get themselves automatically promoted. Now, I'm not going to say a win for either will solidify top spot completely or automatic promotion, but it could go a hell of a long way of doing so. I think for Leeds more so, they've got a 2-point gap at the moment. A win would put them 5 clear of Sheffield United and potentially at least 10 clear of Burnley, depending on what happens in their result. It could be as good of an automatic promotion clincher for Leeds, albeit you can never quite trust Leeds. Even with a lead that big, they still might bottle it, being Leeds. But still, I think it's a great incentive for both sides to hopefully go and win the game and give us a cracker. I hope it's not a very nervy, awkward game where both sides are too scared to lose. I hope they both go out there to win, and it will be, of course, a tough game for Leeds going to Sheffield United. Both have won all of the last 4. It is a bonkers game and one I can't wait to watch. But I do have a feeling, and I've gone for a high-scoring one because that's what I just hope the game will be. I think Leeds will get the job done, you know. I saw that late win up against Sunderland. I just feel like they've got the momentum. They've got the character. It's all going their way at the moment. And albeit Sheffield United have been good lately, I don't think they're at their absolute best at the moment. That's why I'm going to edge Leeds. And I'm going to go with a away win. Sheffield United 2, Leeds 3. I'm going to go with another late winner for Leeds. And it will be, you'd think, the win that gives them pretty much 1 foot in the Premier League with automatic promotion, you'd like to think. There's my predictions for this weekend's fixtures, guys. As I say, apologies, not much Championship content has been dropping recently. It's always awkward to do it when there's Monday night games because I like to keep all the games together in one video and dropping a roundup video on Tuesday. It's just not really that logistical. It's too late by that point, and of course Boro played last Monday, so I had to, it wasn't the Monday before, so I had to prioritise it then, and of course with all the noise around Carrick at the moment, there's a lot going on at Boro, which could still continue for the foreseeable, so I'll try and keep covering the Championship best I can. Don't know if they'll be around up on Tuesday, as I say, because there's just so many games across the weekend, so spread out at the moment, and we do have a game on Tuesday I'll have to preview, which is our game in hand against Stoke. So there might not be a roundup this weekend, but there's a prediction video for you. Let's see how many of these I can get either right or completely wildly wrong. But until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, do smash a like and subscribe for more Boro and football-related content to come on the channel. Leave me a comment below with all your predictions. And until next time, do take care. I'll see you all in the next one.